In this short video, we're going to talk about handles. Here are 4 examples of handles that go on cylinders to make mugs. Now the first handle right here is a simple strap handle, and I'll demonstrate that in just a second. The second handle is a very simple coil handle. The third handle in the back is an example of a pulled handle. Now that takes some skill and practice. That's something that takes a little bit of time to learn. But the nice thing about a pulled handle is the graceful curve of it. It's just nice and flowing. And then this is kind of a unique handle, more of I'm not sure if it would be useful, but it's decorative, and that's a braided handle. These handles all were made about, I would say about 45 minutes ago. So they've firmed up enough so that I can pick them up and they still have their form. But they're still wet enough to add on to the cylinder. This is the stage that you want to add the handles to. Now a pulled handle, I can put the pulled handle on right after I pull it, but a lot of people like to have it sit for just a little bit until it can hold its form. The first handle I'll demonstrate is the very simple strap handle. Now for the strap handle, I've already pre-rolled a slab the same thickness as the thickness of the mug. Okay, so I've already pre-rolled it. It's ready to go. Now to do a strap handle, and really easy, just cut the width that you want. And for handles, I don't like to make them too wide. Now some people just use the handle like this, but at this point the edges are very sharp and not very smoothed out, and if you put it onto a mug for everyday use, it just wouldn't feel very good. So we're going to take our handle, and with a damp sponge, not a wet sponge, you don't want to get this too muddy, you're just going to work that edge so it's nice and rounded. And do the same thing with the other side. That way the cut edge is so much nicer and looks finished. Now we're not finished because we need to do the other side also. Now, if you can carefully flip it over and do the same process with the other side. And you don't need to push that hard, just do it repetitively and it will slowly round the edge. Now I'm not doing the ends because those are the parts of the handle that will be attached to the cylinder. From doing that, kind of rounded my cut for the handle, so I'm going to square those off again. And before I would add it to a mug, or cylinder I should say, I would put it on a board and just let it set until it is firm enough to hold its shape. Then you would score the ends here, and exactly where it's going to be added to the mug, and then very carefully secure it onto the side of the cylinder. Now the next handle is just a coil handle, and it just takes the skill of rolling a nice even coil. And think about the thickness of the handle that you would like. Don't make it too delicately thin, but don't make your handle look like a Tootsie Roll. And the same thing with this handle. We're just going to cut the ends. Now that's rather large for a mug. So I'm going to thin it down just a little bit more and cut the length a little shorter. And again, when you're at this point, let it set until it can hold its form, and then you're able to attach it to the cylinder. Okay, when attaching the handle to the cylinder, whether it be the pulled handle or the strap handle, the coil handle, the process is basically the same. You're going to score the surfaces in which the handle is going to be attached, both the top and the bottom. Now if you look at the pulled handle, the bottom is thinner than the top. So I made the scoring the same way. Now once it's scored, add just a little bit of water. And I like to do the handle, especially on the slab cylinder mug, well, only on the slab cylinder mug, I should say, right on the seam, because the slab cylinder mug is the only mug that would have a seam. That way it just kind of hides where the seam is, okay? So we have it scored. A little water. Now this I usually don't do it this angle, but I'm going to cut at a slight bevel. Just like that. Now this is a little short. And I'm not going to score right here because it's thin, and when I push in right here, I'll score here, but I don't need to score here. There's water on the mug already. I'm putting my finger inside, so when I push the handle on, I'm not damaging the shape of the cylinder. And if it's like this, where the handle doesn't quite curve around, very carefully, depending on how dry it is, very carefully pull it into place. And push that end of the handle into the cylinder. And then you can clean it up however you want. Same thing here. Clean. And you can use the wooden tools to clean that seam up a little bit. But there we have a handle attached to the slab cylinder mug.